Hello and welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage and today we're going to be having a look at Ethereum. Before we jump into the price action, I'd just like to say thank you for watching. If you're enjoying the content, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and why not leave us some feedback down below in the comments section. In the description below, you'll also find a link to the Discord. Why not come check it out? It is free to join. Once you're in the general chat area, just add mention a member staff. We'll be happy to help you out. Okay, so let's get into the fun stuff here. So basically, we're still looking at this in two ways. Either we're looking at this potentially as forming this white fourth wave, as we've got it shown here, where we've got this bigger corrective structure in the middle here, or alternatively, we can argue we have something like this playing out, where we have have completed a fourth wave here, and potentially we are looking to complete this fifth wave still. So we could still be within the third wave, or the third wave could have completed here. It's sort of in that middle gray area at the moment. So we're still waiting for further evidence of which of these options is actually playing out, and we're going to be going through both of them now. So basically, within the first one that we're looking at, this count here, we were arguing that we could actually still be in a bigger corrective move. And the way I was looking at it is effectively what we were looking for here was this is a corrective move. So looking at this either as an A, a B, and then looking for that C wave as a 5-wave structure, or potentially it could just be a W and X, and we actually move down in a Y wave. So this is two of the options that we currently have here. It is possible that we don't have to form this as a flat. I would prefer it as a flat, to be honest with you, and looking to target out this zone here of this 1549 to this 1501. That would be neater if we did actually move down in a 5-wave structure into this zone. And basically the target zone that we're looking for as a typical fourth wave is this zone here of this 1535 to this 1389 at the lower end of that spectrum. So the 236 actually would be in line with this previous structure here at this 1535. So it wouldn't surprise me if we do get a move back down into this area. We've been talking about the potential of coming back into the bottom of this channel, or potentially even retesting the top end of this previous channel that we had. We haven't quite actually got to it yet. So, it is possible we come back and back test this and then look to move away from it. So that's just one of the possibilities. So within this structure, we were arguing that we could have had an ABC completed to the downside here, and that effectively now we could be looking for this B wave to the upside. So this can either be an A, B, and a C, or WXY. So this could actually it could also be a more complex move where instead of getting a 5-wave structure, we get 3-wave structure play out here, where we get something like this play out, where we get a 3-wave move up, then we get a 3-wave move to the downside. So this is something that could still play out within this area if we're looking at this third wave completed back here, and this is a corrective move. So this is basically one of the options. Like I said, either we could be looking at this as just a 3-wave move, which I'd be anticipating if we move back up towards the 618 area. Effectively, the 1-to-1 would be lower down here at this 1565. But basically, off of our current area, if we do start to break down from where we are, and we would be looking potentially at a lower target area of this 1555. So, this could actually play out where we come back and back test some of these lows that we had here at the support range. And then we could look to move away again. So we'll just have to sort of see how this develops within the structure. It is possible that this B wave is still not completed. Obviously, we can argue that we could look to push up here again, deeper into this red box zone. But as if we cross the 1695, at that point I would be switching to one of the other options. It is possible we could form a flat in the in the Y wave, where this actually takes us high and then drops down. But it's more likely that if we break back up here, that we're following one of the other options. So we're going to go over a few things within the video, so make sure you stay tuned to see them all. So like I said, there is potential we're looking for this 5-wave move to the downside as well. So we were talking about this yesterday, and effectively we were looking for this deeper fifth wave to come in. It didn't quite happen. So we can look at this in two ways, really. We can argue that either we have completed into this low, Or alternatively, we can say that maybe we're getting extension within here where this becomes a one and then effectively we're forming a wave two. So we need to just see how this reacts. If at the moment all we have is a three-wave move here, so there's nothing impulsive about this at the moment. But if we do actually start to move down deeper past this 1555 area, then we can start to argue that we have potential to be forming bigger structure to the downside, where this becomes a bigger one, two, and then we look to break down. So what we're currently looking out for here is this 1776 to this 1651. This area here could offer us rejection. So that golden pocket's right here at the 1664 to the 1661. That's of this move here. So if we do actually look to push up here, we could actually move back into this zone and then look to break down from here. So, we need to just be a bit careful. What we'd be looking for is how we move up here. If we just move up here in three-wave structure, it is possible that we could either be looking at that W, X, and a Y in a three-wave move, or alternatively, we can start to see the potential of this playing out as a 1-2, 1-2, and then we look to break down. So, we need to give it a bit of time here. If we do move back up into the zone and we fail to move back above the 1695 and the 1714 area, this remains alive. And like I said, confirmation would only really come from breaking down deeper here. But if we do have this as an additional 1 and a 2, this would actually indicate a much deeper push. So we'd have to just be careful with that, because if we do move back up into this zone and we get rejected, if we're looking at an impulse, that third wave typically would be here at this 1521 zone. So, that would be a zone that we actually need to watch out for if we do start to break down. If we do bounce up here and then start to break down, that would obviously be from this zone. The higher we go, the higher that target becomes, and as well, obviously, the lower we go, the um, the lower the target becomes. So we can see that we've had a bit of rejection within this zone. It is possible we come back up here and retest this at this 50% and then look to just move down from there. So, we need to just give it a bit on and just be a little bit patient with this, because there could be some extension that's going to unfold here where we start to break down deeper. Um, so that's basically the bearish count. If we do get a deeper move here, once again, I would be looking potentially to come back down here and challenge this channel line, which is currently sitting at about, it depends how long this takes, but 1500 area. So that would be quite an interesting area to come back and retest. Obviously, a psychological support as well. It could look to come back down into the zone and then look to move up for that final fifth wave. If we do get this play out where it becomes this bigger sideways move, I'd be looking at this as this fourth wave, not the smaller one. And then we'd be looking potentially for a bigger target, looking to push to the upside. And basically, that would be looking uh, off of this. If we came back to this 1500 area, we'd have to argue that our target range would be somewhere in this area here, higher up now, of this 1862 to this 1770. I'm going to leave this where it is for the time being, just because of the fact that we haven't come down that low, and work that off of a closer area. So, this is still potentially a zone we could look to test. Either way, I do think if we do come back up here, there is a high likelihood that we are going to interact with the top of this channel again, and effectively we'll be looking for that. Though we need to just bear in mind we only have a three-wave structure at the moment. So, we don't have this fourth wave yet. If we do complete it and push up, then we can argue, okay, we've got a completed five-wave move here, and then we'd be looking for that deeper retracement to the downside we form we form a bigger three-wave structure effectively from this high point, looking to come back down and retest some of these zones. So, this is what we'll be keeping an eye on. If we do push up here one more time, we can be looking to actually break out of this channel that we're currently in, and then look to actually come back in, find support, and then break out higher. So that's what I'll be looking for within that as a five-wave move. So we don't have confirmation of it, so we need to just basically watch this zone. If it starts to break down, we need to be careful, because we could actually, if we start to break down too deep, we could actually come back down here and invalidate the upside potential by moving below this 1150 area. So that would be a zone that we'd have to be careful of if we do look to break down. Okay, so I'm going to just change this over now. So we were talking about the alternative count here, where we could be looking at this as potentially a third, fourth wave either completed at this point or potentially even further back at this lower range here. So, this is something that we need to see how this plays out. In theory, it is possible we could have completed this third here, and this whole move is actually starting from this point. So we're going to have to just see how this plays out. That's why I'm currently tracking that WXY. If we do get that WXY, then we come back up, and then we come back down, something like that, then we can argue that this has taken place. But until we actually look to challenge this 1535 area, we unlike with BTC, it hasn't actually come down as deep. So, there is still potential that this could rally to the upside, and we could still be within this green, within the green fifth wave that we have here. And, this could look to push up one more time. So, the way that we're looking at it is two ways. So, basically, what we were looking at within this structure is the potential that we could have a diagonal here. And if I just move these over slightly, so what to be looking for is that potentially this whole move is a fifth wave, where this becomes a ABC for 1 and ABC for 2. So what we want to see here is actually to see this play out as a three-wave move again to the upside here. So this three-wave move basically can't be longer than this wave 1, which comes in at, so we wouldn't be able to move up past this 1812 area. So this wave 3 can push up more significantly than I have it drawn here. I've just drawn these trend lines here just as theoretical ones. There's only 2 touch points, so there's nothing sort of too evident about them. But basically what we'd be looking for is whether this would be a limit. If we do move above 1812, we'd have to argue that something else is going on. I think it would be neater for it to play out like this, though, and basically see this as a third, come back for the three-wave move for a fourth, and then have that additional three-wave move up for a fifth. So this is still valid, and the target zone for that is still remaining within the 786 to the 1720 zone that we had marked up earlier. I'm still looking at that as potentially the same sort of zone we could look to complete. What we'd be looking for then is potentially a move back to the downside here, and that could then be this green fourth wave after that completes, if this does end as a diagonal, and then we can look for that additional fifth. But like I keep saying, we need to be careful because we don't have confirmation of this fourth wave yet. We just have a three-wave move to the upside. If this starts to break down deeper, then we could just have this whole move as a B wave, and we actually look to come back down and potentially look to retest the bigger channel. If I come back out here onto the 4 hourly, it is possible that this whole move here could just be a B wave, and then we could even come down and retest the bottom of this channel again, or at least this 50% line. These are all possibilities that we still have. So we just need to be a bit careful here. This could still break down, like I said, and then we could look to actually set a new low. So that's what we are being a bit cautious of within these counts. That's why I'm trying to count sort of a couple of ways here, so that if we do get a reaction, we can react to it sort of, and we have a couple of options. Okay, so the other way we were looking at this is that we could potentially have a extension to the upside here, and that was looking at this move like this, where this becomes a 1-2, then we have an additional 1 and a 2. So we're currently sitting in that support zone. It is possible that we are completed into here, and that we're actually looking to push up past this 1858 zone. So that would be a zone we'd be looking for confirmation. We don't really have too much information as regards to an impulse here, but what we would be looking for effectively is we'd want to hold this low point, and we could argue that we're potentially going to look to complete a 5-wave move here, where this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5 to the upside. So then what we'd want to see is a retracement down to this sort of 1628, 26 area to this 1614. That would be a zone we'd want to hold. We wouldn't want to drop back below this 1605. And then we'd want to see this move start to take some more impulsive moves here, where we come back down, potentially retest this area, and then look for this to develop as a bigger 5-wave structure. That would then give us the potential to actually have this as a one or a next move to the upside. So, basically what we would want to see if we're looking for this bigger impulse here is see this 5 wave move. Then we'd want to come back, potentially back test some of these areas with the third wave, with the wave 2, and then look to potentially break through here with a 1 of 3, and then really start get going, because this as a third of a third wave should be quite impulsive. Like I said, confirmation would come by crossing this 1858 area, in which case we could then be looking for this additional third and fourth wave here. So this was something that can actually play out, which would look to push us up towards the top of this channel line. 1981 and 1927 is what I have worked out just off of the fibs that we have at the moment. This can change obviously as the waves develop, but we will keep you up to date if that happens. Yeah, so that's basically looking for this as an extension. Now we can also argue that we have a simple impulse here, where we look at this just as a wave 1, and then this potentially as a wave 2. So invalidation of this would come by crossing this 1535. Invalidation of all of these moves comes by crossing this 1518. But specifically this one marked here, this 1535 would actually invalidate this. And we wouldn't really want to come down much lower than this 1571 anyway. Once we start to get into this zone, it actually makes it very unlikely that we are following this structure. So confirmation would be this 1919 area, which could mean that we have a push up here towards this $2,000 area. That a maximum, the 1951 is the zone. Like I said before, if we do get this additional push up here, this 2000 is going to be quite an important psychological level. Uh, so we just need to watch it and see how we progress. Like I said, if we do get a 1-2 here and then potentially form another 1-2, then we start to break up here, find support above this, maybe this central line here again, come back and retest it a few times, break out of the channel. We can look for this potential to actually push up higher here, but we also need to be cautious because we're right on this channel at the moment, and if we do start to break down here, we just need to monitor that move and see what happens. If we lose this fourth wave area of this 1428, really we need to just be careful, because like I said, we just have a 3 wave move at the moment, which we can just count as an ABC, and then actually we look to break down. Though it is more likely, in my opinion, that we are within this 5 wave structure, but we have to wait for it to prove itself. And that's basically that. So this is the simple impulse, and the most important thing is, there's going to be a pullback. Um, and even if we're looking at this as a bullish counter, where this is a bigger 5 wave structure, we're going to be looking for a decent pullback once this completes, depending on where it completes. But we're still going to be looking for potentially a move back down into this 50% zone, which would be this 1436. So that would be a higher range. The 786 would actually be towards the lower range of this. So that would actually come back and being a retest of this zone here, or potentially, depending on how high we move here, we can argue that we might get something like this, where we actually come back and test the outside of this channel again, and then look to move away from there. So this is just some of the things we need to be cautious of here. There could be a bigger move here where we actually look to uh, break down much deeper within this move after completing. So it's a dangerous area to be FOMOing in. I think waiting for confirmation is the most important thing here, because this 5 wave move in isolation means nothing. It could just be part of a corrective structure where this is an A, B, and a C, and then we actually still look to break down and set a new low. So, what we'd want to see here, if we're looking for that bullish count, is we want to see this play out as a 1, come back for a 2. Then we want to see this start to get moving to the upside here. We want to start to see that impulsiveness coming in. If we fail to develop that, then basically we just have a corrective structure here, and a corrective structure is against the trend. So that means that we're going to actually be moving down again with the current trend that we had before. So that's what we just need to be aware of. Okay, I'm going to leave the video there. There is also the potential that we have a triangle developing here. I still haven't given up on that idea that we could still see that this becomes an A wave, a B wave. We form a 5 wave move here, we break down, we push back up again for another wave. That becomes a C wave. We break down for a D wave, and then we form an E wave, and then actually we just have a bigger sideways move here. So we just need to be a bit careful with this. This could just be range bound for a long period of time. These markets don't have to go up or down. Sometimes we can just get stuck in a range like this. So if we do end up carrying on like that, that would be my primary expectation. But if effectively a triangle invalidates by moving back above this 2025, so until we actually move back above that, we need to just keep our minds open that, this could actually become a range bound motion where we just sit in this zone for a while and then either look to break down or up, depending on which way you want to read the triangle. Yeah, so there's quite a few options here on the macro. We have covered them previously in the videos, so have a look at those. But basically, there's nothing sort of definite at the moment. We just have a 5 wave move here, which doesn't mean anything on its own, and we haven't even completed that. So, we can also argue that potentially this becomes this becomes an A, this becomes a B, and then we look to push down one more time for a C wave, and potentially come back much deeper here. So we need to just be a bit careful with how we are following this until we actually get the confirmation of this fourth and fifth. We can still break down. So I just wanted to say that. So just people, because I know I'm talking about some bullish counts now, but that's just within this single move until we actually get the confirmation. This is not a bullish structure. It's only once we get that retracement, find support, and then look to move away, that's when we can start to think of it as a bullish structure. But even then, that could just complete a bigger zigzag pattern and look to break down as well. So, we'll have to monitor it as it comes, but that's what we are currently looking at here. The last thing I wanted to talk about actually is the potential we could have a triangle within this. So it's not my favorite count, but it is still potentially possible where we look at this basically as a ABC for a wave. This becomes an ABC for a B wave. You know, effectively the C wave could be becoming more complex. So that's what we can see here, where we've got marked out this W, X, and Y. This could become more complex, where we get a double zigzag here. If it's a double zigzag, it is potentially likely that we come and test this B wave, and we'd be looking for the basically to come back up here, potentially test this B wave, and then look to continue to the downside. So that's why I've taken that reading from high up there, and you can see that if we did that, this 1565 would be the 1-to-1 of this of this W wave. So that could be something that we see happen here when we get this as basically a W. This is a B and this is a C, or this is a W, an X, and a Y. So there's a couple of options within this move here. Basically, the reason I'm looking at this idea is that it would fit quite nicely into actually this top channel here, and we can argue that basically would just form higher lows here, sort of coiling up to explode to the upside here. So that's just something we need to keep an eye on. If we do develop within this zone like this, we can slightly move these as well. We can potentially say that we have something like this, and the B wave would still be the same. And either we're going to form between these two trend lines, like this, where this is actually a completed C wave. Over here, we're forming a D wave potentially, and then we're going to look for this E wave to the downside. So you can even drag this down and say that this might actually complete even tighter in this, something like this. But yeah, it's a bit too early to say. So we just need to basically see how this plays out, and then we will go from there. Okay, I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. I know there's a lot of options here, but it's not very clear at the moment which one is playing out. So sometimes it's better to have these, that if it goes one way, we've got them on hand. Okay, everyone, I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care out there.